Good morning, Alexiot's here. It's Friday morning, and we're playing the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Hope everybody's doing good out there, Raptor Freak Nation. A little bit of a rainy, dreary kind of day to start the day so far today. Good to see Guardian Transit in the chat already. Have a feeling Masai Ujiri will be active by trade deadline. Well, let's see how things go. Interesting that Thad Young had an interview yesterday saying that, this is a really tough stretch of games coming up, and this could make or break certain things with our season. And he understands like these were some of the easier games to try and win. That they're only going to get harder for the rest of December for the most part. Now there are different things we're hearing, like Steph Curry's not going to be here on Sunday, so Golden State may be interesting. It could be very similar to what happened last year at the Golden State game that came here when I went to that game, and it really wasn't the same Warriors that showed up. And so we'll have to see. We'll keep monitoring this kind of stuff. So we're playing the Nets today, and it's a Friday. So there's a couple of things we got to do. We got to win on a Friday first of all because we failed to do that all year, and then we need to beat the Nets because we failed to do that all year also. There's a couple of things we need to check off as far as accomplishments for today. And if we don't get them, then it's going to be sad, but it is what it is. We're already losing. So it's like, are we going to get even worse? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're only going to get better. Mike's here. Good to see Logical Raptors fanatics. Salute real ones. Project Truth always. Thank you, Mike, and good to see you. Let's just get right into the injuries right away for tonight. The stuff for us is kind of normal. What we've had recently. Well, here's a little addition. Ron Harper Jr. did not participate in the Wednesday game against the net against Capital City Go-Go in the 905, and he is not going to be available for tonight versus the Nets. Now, he wouldn't have been playing here anyway because the 905 are playing also tonight at Mississauga against the College Park Skyhawks. So there's two games tonight, once again at 7:30 at the same time. The Raptors will be playing at the same time as the Raptors 905. Precious Achua still remains out for a few more weeks. Now, Nick updated even more on Precious yesterday because they saw him in practice working out, and he said he's about 60 to 70% right now. He's still not going into contact, and he said yesterday that he thinks it's going to be after the new year. That it's not very likely we're going to see Precious back in the year 2022. So don't expect Precious back until New Year's. And then Otto is maybe even a little bit further after that. And then OG, hopefully we'll get him back next week. But that is our injury report right now for the Raptors. And I don't even know why they put Ron Harper on there. I mean, because he's going to be playing 905 tonight if he is well enough to play. But I don't know if he is. On the other side, the Nets were very injury-free up until this morning. Like I'm seeing, or yesterday, I'm seeing Seth Curry is questionable for tonight. Which would make both Curry brothers aren't going to play in two games in a row here in Toronto. That is what it is. And then Patty Mills missed practice yesterday. He had a non-COVID illness, and he is doubtful for the game today. But otherwise, Brooklyn is pretty full strength. Yuta is healthy and will be playing tonight. TJ Warren, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Royce O'Neal. We should expect every single one of the regular Nets. Except for possibly Seth Curry and Patty Mills. And this is the other crazy thing about the Nets. Their schedules have been really weird. They last time they played was on Monday. They've had this entire week off. They've had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, and they haven't played since Monday. Now that can go two ways for them. That can either be like a good thing for resting up and getting injuries okay. It could also mean that they're a little off of their rhythm. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this Nets team is no joke. They're finally kind of living up to their promise. They've won like 12 out of their last 15 games or something like that. They've only lost like 3 games in very recent times. So they're not any kind of slouch. And beating them tonight would be a huge accomplishment. And it would be a really good, positive way to get good feelings going for the Raptors in all kinds of ways. So hopefully this is what can happen tonight. The Nets we can finally get their number and somehow, some way, figure it out. Things haven't looked good for the Raptors in a couple different ways recently, and hopefully they can start looking good in a couple different ways instead. So Cool Cat is here. Good to see Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. It would be nice for us to get a break regarding injuries and get a W against the Warriors. Tonight would be tough without OG again. Yeah, he's not going to be playing again tonight. Like, he's not going to be able to play for this stretch. He won't be playing for Golden State or Philadelphia games either on Sunday and Monday. So he's not going to be here for at least the next 3 games. So it's too bad. It is what it is. Omari Parsons is here. Good to see you, Omari Parsons. Good morning, freaks. Logical Raptors fanatics. Salute, brother. Omari Parsons is he can help you out finding housing out in Mississauga, the 905 and parts of the 416. Just get in contact with Omari. He can help you with a mortgage and finding and buying a house. He can also help you with finding a place to rent. So check out Omari Parsons in the phone book. He can help you out if you're looking for a place to live. Kareem Thomas is saying, okay, hear me out. All right, I got you got my full attention, Kareem Thomas. Give up Birch, Malachi, and a first, and we trade for Jakob and go back to our 2019 traditional offense starring 2 bigs, Jakob and Koloko, and have positionless basketball come off the bench. Wow, there's a lot in there, and some very interesting ideas. I'd love to have Pirtle back on this team. I'm very much on the record for this, and he would really help with like the defense and the rebounding for sure. But I mean, I don't know what the price is at this point. Now, Birch and Malachi, I mean, in the first, I mean, if that is what they're asking for, maybe it does work. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know about the rest of it as far as like going back to traditional offense, starting 2 bigs and then having positionless come off the bench. I don't know how that would work with who we have on the team and who's important. And of course, we know stubborn Nick Nurse is going to start. Who's going to start? He's going to start them who he wants to, and it may be not always like feasible. But that's an interesting like reality or a different way, a path that they could go. Very interesting. Isaac Campbell saying Jakob is worth multiple first-round picks as the Spurs are in a rebuild. Yeah, see, the price may be really steep for the future. I don't know. I feel like once again, it may seem like we really need to make a move, but the worst moves are made in desperation. Seriously, you can like be really in a bad place and feel like, oh, you got to make this move no matter what, and it could be a huge disaster. The best moves are made calculated and from a safe reasoning or safe thing, instead of being like, oh, we're so in trouble, we have to make this move out of desperation. And that's the one reason why I'm not real big on making a huge move right now, because it's just things are just not clicking exactly, but they will again. And I just don't want to do something stupid as a knee jerk reaction to just the limited time of losing we're going to have right now. That's the way I look at it in some ways. So let's see. Want to keep your first for blockbuster move, Guardian Transit. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I don't know. Like the first do seem valuable this year in particular, but who knows what they are like later. I'm not a big fan of hoarding first round picks like other teams seem to do. And I don't value them as much as other people do, but that's because I'm a Raptors fan. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of trading any first round picks right now, just because it seems like once again, it's going along with what I was just saying. We don't want to make any desperate knee jerk reactions just because things are a little bad right now. Sue's saying, good morning, everyone. Let's win this one tonight for back for payback. Okay, the cursor was over that. For payback for the last 2 times versus the Nets. What about the last 3 times? They beat us 3 times already this season. Yeah, we got to get them for all 3 of them. And just for being the Nets, too. Logical Raptors fanatics saying we need to get healthy, and everyone cliff jumping early are the ones not to listen to. Salute Omari. Yeah, I'm with you on this, Mike. I'm totally with you on this. All right, guys. I'm not going to dilly-dally today because I got things I want to do today. So we're just going to get right into things right away. Our referees tonight, we got 2 different games. So we're going to go over the referees for both games. We'll start with the 905 game here in Mississauga. They're playing the College Park Skyhawks. Guess who's the head ref for the 905 game? It's Mike. Mike Jones, right? Who's the ref or the coach of the coach of the Kings from we saw the other day? Isn't it Mike Jones? For some reason, I'm blanking on his name. It's Mike Brown. It's Mike Brown. Mike Brown's favorite person, Brent Haskell, is our head ref for the 905 game tonight. So that's pretty cool. He hung around here in Toronto, I guess, for the week. and now he's going to be refereeing the not G League games. Nate Surley is the second ref, and Omar Bermudez. Those are the three refs for 905 tonight. So check that game out. And then for our game here at Scotiabank, Brooklyn at New York, Sean Wright is our first referee. He's our crew chief. And as I've said, if anybody named Sean is involved, it's usually a good thing. Sean is born in New York City, but he lives in Dacula, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. His favorite TV show is Law and Order. He likes the movie Love Jones. His favorite musician is Michael Jackson. His favorite book is Crime and Punishment. His bucket list is to fly a plane. He's a very good chess player, and his favorite meal is roasted chicken and veggies. So we need some roasted chicken with veggies for Sean Wright this morning. And he has been a G League ref. He has been ref in all kinds of different places, like the SEC, the Big South, Southern Ohio Valley, Atlantic Sun, and Southwestern Athletic Conferences have all employed him as an NCAA Division II ref. So Sean Wright is our crew chief, and I'll tell you right now, he's a great crew chief for us to have. This crew tonight is actually really, really favors us. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good crew for the Raptors as far as statistically. Sean Wright we've won 59% of our games when he's refereeing. Meanwhile, the Nets have won 46% of their games. So that's 59 to 46 percentage breakdown for Sean Wright as far as winning percentage for the two teams involved tonight. So we have the favor of the crew chief. The second ref is Nick Bookert. Nick Bookert is from Orlando, Florida. He lives in Illinois now, though. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. That's two shows, man. Favorite movie is Gladiator. He likes David Gray for musician. His favorite meal is steak. He'd like to visit Rome, and his bucket list is to attend the Super Bowl. Why don't you just go, bro? You're in the States. Maybe he's too busy reffing around that time. But also, Nick is interested in traveling, cooking, working out, and biking. He's an avid wine collector. He has over 500 bottles of wine in his wine cellar. And he is a big part involved in March of Dimes of Chicago. So he does a lot of things for them. So Nick Bookert is our second ref, and his stats are just even better than they get better and better as we go down the ref crew. Like the Sean Wright's the worst ref for us. Nick Bookert, we win 64% of the time. Meanwhile, the Nets only win 46% of the time. You're seeing a pattern that the Nets only win 46% of the time under all our refs. Meanwhile, we're winning like 59, 65. And our last guy, let me get to the next guy. It is Jason Goldenberg. He is golden for the Raptors. He has been in his young career. He's in his seventh season as a ref. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. His favorite TV show is Curb Your Enthusiasm. His favorite movie is Tommy Boy. There you go, Tommy Duke. Tommy Boy is his favorite movie. His favorite musician is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. His favorite book is Ego is the Enemy. He would like chicken parmesan today for his meal. His favorite app is NBA, and his bucket list is to sail around the world in a mega yacht. So Jason Goldenberg is our third ref. He enjoys traveling around the world, experiencing new cultures and food and beaches. So, and he's also been a official in the NCAA in the Big South, Southern, and O Valley conferences. So, and he was a G League ref also. So Jason Goldenberg is our third ref. And honestly, he's one of the best refs for us after Matt Callio. Matt Callio's the number one ref for us at the very top, the Canadian ref. But Jason Goldenberg's right there at number two. We win 88% of the time when Jason Goldenberg is refereeing. And meanwhile, the Nets only win 47% of the time. So we have a huge statistical advantage, it appears, with the referees tonight. Sean Wright, Nick Bookert, and Jason Goldenberg. So we're golden with Goldenberg, baby. Golden with Goldenberg. So hopefully we'll see some favor with the refs, because it wouldn't hurt to have some home cooking, some good ref calls to help counterbalance possibly a talent imbalance between the Raptors and the Nets tonight. If they're coming out their full strength, look out. Now, talking about the Nets, there's an interesting article on ESPN this morning about something that's happened to them recently. They've been fined $25,000 after sitting 8 players versus the Indiana Pacers recently. This was the game that Starscream came in and talked to us about where like none of their players played and they still beat the Pacers. Well, apparently the NBA is upset with them for sitting so many players and for not having like they're failing to comply with league policies governing injury reporting. And Jacques Vaughn, the coach of the Nets, has basically said, well, look, we know that these guys are hurt and these guys are hurt. And I sat Kevin because Kevin Durant is leading the league in minutes. And, he's trying to say that it's like, look, I did what I did. And he's such a gangster in some ways about this because, look, he sat his top 8 players and his bench and his end of the bench guys beat the Pacers still. So that was pretty crazy. And he got rest. And in some ways, the Nets aren't missing a beat. In fact, I think when they fired Steve Nash, they changed and they switched, and they are actually playing very, very well since. And that partly because Jacques Vaughn is a very good coach. I don't want to diss Steve Nash too much because I like Steve Nash. I met him in person. He's a great person. But I didn't think he was going to be successful coaching the Nets right from the start, partly because I knew him coaching superstars like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving was just going to be ineffective. There's just not going to be the right kind of respect between coach and player having a rookie coach like that with such established huge stars. It really is that these kind of guys need these huge names like Eric Spoelstra or a Greg Popovich or a Pat Riley coaching them sometimes. And Steve, even though like he's respected for his playing career, he had not gained any respect for his coaching career yet. And that was a huge hindrance. Well, Jacques Vaughn, in a way, has been a grinder as a coach in this league for a long time. He's been around on different staffs in different places like Utah and Orlando before Brooklyn. And he's been in Brooklyn for a long time now. So it's like he's seen a lot of regime changes there. And everybody there has like, he's very established in that franchise. And I think that that's part of the reason why he's having so much success as the interim head coach of the Brooklyn Nets right now. And in some ways, Joe Tsai, don't go look anywhere else. You might need to just make this man your coach because it's working. Let's just put it that way. It's working. It really is seemed like it's working. I wish the Nets were more of a dumpster fire. But in some ways, some of the things that are happening with them are very much not dumpster fire-ish. And they really are a legitimate Eastern Conference power and a threat to win the championship this year, for sure. I think that for sure. And it may be because of Yuta Watanabe partly. So, all right, let me see what else you guys are saying here in the chat. Ba-bam, 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 bam, 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 bam. All right, Sue's saying, I don't think we should make any big moves right now. I agree, Lex. Let's not trade while someone is slumping. We just need to sort out a few things. We have a good team. Well, and I love this. I criticize Aaron Rose for making a big deal out of the deadline yesterday that started. The December 15 opened up and everybody can be traded now. Woo! No, fuck that. It's Christmas. When it's Christmas, think of the children and don't trade their daddy to another team. It really is kind of like that. If you get traded around Christmas, your team really hates you. Let's just put it that way. For the most part, it's just unwritten rule. You just don't trade somebody in December, even though this deadline opens up. And that's why when Aaron Rose went and investigated a little bit further, he found that historically, nobody gets really traded from this December 15th until like the new year. So nothing's going to happen at least for another month with us. And it could be that we change things and turn things around with our team and the way we play in that time. So even though we're speculating that a move may be coming or happening, there's still time to pull this jet out of decline and falling and crashing into the ground. And, this can still happen. So we'll have to see what happens. It's a little premature, but it could be true that Masai Ujiri will be looking, and him and Bobby Webster will be making a move at some point. Space Cadet saying, anyone catch Chev's video blasting certain fans and YouTubers for making up fake narratives between Fred and Scotty? It was glorious. Need a Raptors Freak and Chev collaboration. I would love that. I would love that, Flex. Seriously, I would love that. I mean, it'd be fun. I love that he's fighting this fight and talking about this subject because it is really flaring up right now. In fact, there's a particular clip that's circulating right now where Freddie's bringing the ball up the court and he doesn't see Scotty to pass it over. And I totally get why Scott's upset in this moment because the defense has like overloaded the side Fred's on, and Scotty's got all this daylight right in front of him near the 3-point line, and he's freaking out. He's like, over here, over here. He's jumping. He's like, woo! And Fred doesn't even look at him or see him. And people are really reading into this way too much because Fred made the decision to do what he did. It may be that I don't think that is that he is ignoring Scotty or anything, and we shouldn't read into this too much. But Scotty, once again, is a very expressive young man that we can really read really well from things. And yes, he was anxious to get the ball in that moment, but that don't read this into it and making this mountain out of a molehill. That it's really not that big of a deal. That quite often there's different things that happen on the court with decisions that just go certain ways. And Scotty may have wanted to get the ball in that moment and saw something, and that's why he was really agitated and wanted it. And maybe Fred should have given it him, because in some ways I looked at the way the defense was forming up, and it looked like Scotty had a better way to enter in. And maybe Fred does need to look on his court vision a little bit more. But once again, just because this happened doesn't mean that there's all kinds of other stuff between them and problems. There aren't, because both of them have spoke glowingly about each other, and that they really are playing as teammates, and they're doing things together and looking for each other. It's just in that moment, it looks really crazy. And now everybody's taking that clip and they're trying to like make a big thing out of it. I appreciate Chev for like setting things straight and telling them to shut the fuck up. Fred is a pro. First of all, he's not going to have a problem with Scotty, even if he's a little intimidated that he may take some of his roles. He's a team player, and he loves having Scotty on this team because he's very talented and good, and he will help him win. So there's nothing to hate about that. And the same thing goes the other way for Scotty. He respects Fred and what he's already done in his career. He actually is in awe of him to a degree in some ways, because like, look, Fred's a great role model for a guy his size to do what he's done in his life and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that Scotty can learn from Freddie. So I love that Chev's making this kind of content, and I love that. Y'all put my name in his ear and see what he says. Maybe he'll come watch me a little bit and see what I'm saying. Randolph is here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Good morning, Raptor Freaks and most informative gang. Blessings, blessings, blessings. We must remain positive and optimistic about our team. These are good games to help determine our future. When? Yeah, I mean, listen, we win today. This feels good. We need to feel good. And let's do this tonight, Raptors. Let's get out of the mud and beat the Nets tonight. There's so many different reasons why we need to do this. So many. It's so badly needed a win right now. So let's take this very seriously and overachieve, because in a lot of ways, people are very much probably not giving us much chance to beat a fully, like, mostly healthy Brooklyn Nets team tonight. We're not definitely favored in this game. And if we win it, we'll look real good and we'll get some good feelings going. So I like it. Cool Cat saying, I don't want us to waste Pascal and OG's growth year, but I still like all of our young guys, and hopefully everyone gets to stay together. Just focus on playing hard for an entire game on defense. Yeah, I like that. I think the defense is the key. That's the bottom baseline, important character detail about our team that we need to establish and have very consistent throughout this game. Of course, in this game, and obviously, the rebound battle is so integral to us winning. So we need to win that also. Let's see. As far as it's really weird this year. It's like, what are we doing this year? I don't think we're trying to play for a championship at this point. I think this really is a development year, and it's just like, how much losing are we going to allow in a developing year? It's about pride in some ways. We may not be a realistic championship contender, but we can still try and instill winning culture and winning methods within like the losing and the development time. So that may be more the focus for the rest of this year. It's like, sure, we may not be a legitimate power as far as like what we can do. I thought that last year that we were a legitimate power and that we could actually do some real damage. But this year, I don't know if I can say that this year. That there's just too much inconsistency. There's too many like flaws with our team right now that I don't know if it's really realistic to think that I always aim for a championship, obviously. But in some cases, I have to look at it and say, look, I don't think that we're ready. And this needs to be more of a development year in trying to figure things out. And us as fans need to temper our expectations and start thinking in a way that is kind of like, you know what, this is all for putting it forward for the future. And that we're using this time to teach people like Scotty and Christian how to play better as NBA players, and that it may not translate to winning this year. And especially with this tough schedule for the rest of this month, this could get real ugly real quick. And it's going to be a really tough time for Raptor freaks and our crew. But we need to stay tight and stay together no matter what, even if we start going way below 500. Because I don't feel good about things this month. I'm going to tell you the truth. I hope that we can get it out of the mud and get going in the right direction, but this is not an easy month to start trying to do this. In fact, if we were going to try and start doing that, it would have started last week, but it didn't. So we're going to have to see how it goes. Let's see. Guardian is saying looking more like signing Otto Porter was a mistake. He will be lucky to even play this year. I still don't agree with that. I mean, listen, he could be hurt for like 4 months of the season, and he comes back at the end of the season, and he's a gangbusters. He's doing really well. He's shooting. He's doing this. He helps us out. I don't think this is a mistake. I know a lot of people knocked him for being injury prone when we got him, but this is just the NBA, man. Everybody's injury prone at this point. Everybody's getting hurt. Everybody's getting knocked out. It's a crazy, crazy level of injuries all over the place with every team right now. So I don't. He was paid so little this year. It's a bargain either way. So I totally disagree with this. I don't think it was a mistake. He's a great person to have on our roster, even if it seems like he's hurt too much, because he's going to help us. And we are not paying him that much. And the fact that we got him out of every other team in the NBA right now, that's pretty good. And I'll tell you what, Golden State misses him right now. So, no, I disagree with your statement here. He wasn't a mistake. It's just you think that because he's been injured. But watch when he comes back. It'll work out. Tom Duke has got the plates out, and he's got the broccoli. He's got a juice, and he's got a carrot. He's got some rice. He's got a steak. And not sure what Goldenberg wants for breakfast. Let's go. He doesn't want breakfast. Goldenberg likes chicken parmesan. Tom. So the orders are this. Let me go over the ticket. You need to get him some roasted chicken and veggies for Sean Wright. You need some steak for Nick Booker, and then you need chicken parmesan for Jason Goldenberg. So 2 chickens and a steak, please. 2 chickens and a steak. Order up, ding ding. I'm a fun guy saying, man, really hope refs are actually a factor in a win tonight, but I won't lie to you, Lex. I fully expect to lose this game. Laugh out loud. I don't feel totally good about things either. That's why I'm just like, why am I going to do keys to victory? It's like, I want to win, and I know how we could win, but in some ways, we know what this team is we're going to play tonight, Brooklyn. We've played and faced them 3 times already this year, and it's really, we got to stop their superstars, Kyrie and Kevin, as much as possible. Like Kyrie, especially, he's the one who's really super hurt us. Now, Kevin, not having OG tonight's not going to help. Not having Precious tonight's not going to help. So, yeah, it's a very stacked against us kind of game, especially with the way they've been rolling, the fact that they haven't played since Monday. And there's all kinds of different things. At least we have the home court advantage. We have the refs, probably. Hopefully, they're on our side. Knock on wood. Hopefully, I didn't mess that up by saying that. But I really do think they'll help us. And then, what else can we do? Hopefully the crowd can come in there and be a good crowd. We've had really not the best crowds recently since we've been losing more, and that's too bad. So I don't know. We just got to find something somewhere. I mean, this is the kind of weird game where we think, oh, they're totally counted out and they don't even have a chance. And then all of a sudden they overachieve and we're all on cloud 9 by 11 o'clock tonight. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to think, fun guy. We need to open the possibility that this will be a win for us somehow, some way. They'll figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. Mike's saying 2 issues, health and growing pains from role expansion. It's not perfect, yes, and judging things as a finished product is ridiculous. I was going negative to point out biases of others, but I'm done with it. Yeah, Mike, listen, it's a weird world we live in. There's going to be negative people no matter what. And in a lot of ways, when people speak negatively about other things, it's really that they're doing self-talk about themselves in code. That, listen, you want to understand the key to happiness and to be happier in your own life? Well, structure your word structure and the way you express yourself to be more positive. And you'd be shocked at how much happier and content you are in your life in general. That half the time, part of the reason why we're so sad and miserable is that we shape it in our heads and in our speech. and that everybody has the opportunity to either be negative or positive with what they say. And this is really why you see people that may be the most poor and the most destitute people, but they're so happy because they really, really have a bright side and they think about it and they speak positively and they carry positivity, even if they live in a really bad situation. So it's really interesting life skill to retrain your brain to be positive, to speak positively, to say positive things, to just be a positive person because you don't understand how much you hold yourself back when you're so negative. And this is a thing forget about Raptors content, forget about Raptors stuff. This is everything in the whole entire world. That if you want to just be a little bit more happy, well, change the way your mentality is. And if you start to think, well, I'm starting to think in a negative way right here, well, turn it around and really kind of retrain your brain to be more positive and then say things that come out of your mouth that are more positive than just kind of like negative, like, Debbie Downer kind of shit. And you may see a very like incredible life change in your life. It's like very amazing like things happening that you wouldn't even expected just because you're putting more positivity out there. Now one of the other things we got to remember is too that we can't control how anything or anybody's going to say or do, that they are their own responsibility and for their own to find out those things and those lessons on their own. We can never force it on them or open their eyes. I can explain it right now, but it's not going to be clicking into everybody's head. And they're like, oh, what he's making sense. I'm going to try this today. And you may, some people will be like, oh, he's stupid. But that's what I'm saying. You can't control what other people are going to do. So only work on yourself and think about this from your own self and what you do and what you say. And I think that I commend you, honestly, because it's a waste of time to try and change minds sometimes. If they're already mired in negativity and they just want to believe what they're going to believe, give up. Don't even bother. You can try and point out and observations that you've made in the same thing that will help them. But if they're a closed book and they're not going to listen, or they're just, it's useless. There's no reason to go after and change their mind because it's probably not going to happen. So there you go. I mean, hey, a little bit of life skills there, and just the positive power of thinking, the power of positive thinking, and just like turning off negativity in your own head can change your life. It's crazy. Tom Duke is saying Mike Brown is getting lots of credit for inspiring the Kings players to getting their W against us. There's an interesting clip after the game on Wednesday of them celebrating the first ever win for that assistant coach that stepped in his place to help them win by one. And they showered him with champagne. They're acting like it's a championship, honestly, in a visitor dressing room at the Scotiabank Arena. Well, I hope they showed that clip to the Raptors, the team, the coaches, everybody, and showed them celebrating in our building after a 1-point win the other night, that rookie coach getting his first win ever. Mike Brown is doing a great job with them. They are beatable. I'm not as impressed with them after playing them, honestly. They have problems, and they're not a top Western team. They're gonna be around near the bottom still, even though they look good right now. But he's definitely a step in the right direction. Mike Brown is doing good things, and he's actually a coach they respect. That's been the problem in Sacramento for a long time. All these coaches they've been getting lately have not been respectful coaches for the team players. They have not looked up to them or bought into them. Well, Mike Brown, they're buying into, and that's part of the reason why they're doing so well. Naco the Nachos here. Good to see you, Naco. Yes, I'm indifferent to making big moves. From a contracts point of view, we probably have to. I wouldn't trade this year's pick, though. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that especially the last part, don't pick trade the pick for this year, because apparently this is a great draft year. And then, I think you're right that there is something that has to be done as far as like, if we don't trade or move somebody, we may lose value because we cannot sign everybody that we need to possibly this summer. So sometimes a team will trade somebody that they don't have a future plan with. Just go ahead and trade them just to get another asset to keep further along down the road as far as things. And that is very much what we're talking about is Gary Trent Jr. That it may be that it's just financially not smart to try and retain him next year. And it's for us to get somebody different, that's similar to him. for a different cost. I don't know. We'll have to see what Bobby Webster figures out. But I think that you're very on point with both things that you're saying here, Nako. As far as like, yeah, the big moves, I don't know if they'll be big moves. Like everybody's going to expect a big move, but it may be a very small move. It could be just like one player like Gary, but it could, anybody who thinks there's going to be huge moves on our team, they're going to be very disappointed. It's not going to happen. Isaac Campbell saying Chev said he may need to go live stream in order to counter Fred VanVleet conspiracy theories. Frap to Freak be the OG. Well, if he wants to take a little bit of tricks out of my bag, hey, that'd be interesting to hear him interact live with people on the show. That would be very, very interesting. I don't know. It's not like anything I'm doing is proprietary. It's just that, not everybody can do the live stream like I do it. I'd be very curious to see if Chev can do it in a constructed way that's orderly and that makes sense. Because sometimes doing these with interacting with comments can be very harrowing and kind of like not totally coherent. So we'll have to see if he can do it. I mean, Bo of the Fifth Column can't do a live stream. He is absolutely horrible on a live stream. He cannot do it. And I'm way better at live streams than he is. I will admit that. I know when I'm good at something, and I'm good at live streams and being on the fly. Callie's saying, I've been practicing enough. That's for sure. Callie's saying, I'm definitely not confident going into the game tonight. Hopefully they will play team ball and pass to open man. The shots will fall. This would be a huge welcome change from recent games if the Raptors shots will just fall. In fact, if that just turns on all of a sudden and it's like, whoa, this is something we haven't seen in a while, we may all get a little giddy and feeling good. Once again, listen, I want to temper expectations, much like Callie's saying for herself right now. And say, listen, and this is what I said on Wednesday, and maybe it was like, and it did come true. It's like, even if we play a really good game and it's close and we end up losing, I want everybody to look for the progress and things, even if we don't get the W. I want y'all to seriously look and see, are they playing the defense very soundly for the whole most of the game? Are they not having an offensive lapse where they do not score for like 5 minutes? Are they able to do different things like this? This is where we need to look for the improvement. Are they shooting better? Are they playing defense better? All that kind of stuff. If we can look at that kind of stuff within the game, regardless of whether we win or not, because this is what we have to do as a younger, like a team that's in the stage that we're in. We're very much in some ways kind of like the Magic right now. Whereas like we have to temper expectations because we're young. And then like a successful game doesn't always add up to a win. It's like you have to learn how to win again and do enough things right to get to the win. And we may be doing some of the things right, but we're not doing all of the things right. And if we can see a little bit more of the things done right tonight, on top of what we did against Sacramento, but we still lose, can y'all kind of understand where it's still a win? Because we are making progress within the things. That's what I'm saying. Like we can't have any offensive stagnation. If we cannot see that, if we can see much improved shooting, then boom, we can see progress. But it still may not add up to enough to beat 2 top 75 players in the NBA's history. So it is a very tall order tonight, but woo, how sweet it is. If we can beat them tonight, it'll feel real good. So Cool Cat's saying all these folks bashing Scotty's teammates could also make Scotty leave when he renews his contract comes up. He's a team guy and he likes positivity. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but he's not going to find it anywhere in the NBA. He can go wherever he wants. He's going to find negativity from fans and different people. If he seeks it out, he will find it. And it's too bad. I hate that. But it's what can we do? We can't control it. And listen, there's a lot of speculation right now about how much the team does actually look and see what people like me and people on Twitter are saying. So I don't know. Like, I wish you guys listen. Don't listen to me. If you find enjoyment or entertainment in watching my silly ass, okay then. But don't listen to me or take into heart a lot of what different people are saying. You guys are pros. You live in another world than us to a degree. And you shouldn't have to listen to ordinary fans and their critiques and their reasoning for things. Chris said this the other day on the new podcast, the Hustle Play, the live one with Mike Roach. He said one of his biggest pet peeves is people that don't know jack shit about basketball, who have never played or anything like that, trying to tell him what he should do to change his game. to what they think about basketball when he can tell they don't know jack shit. Now he may come and hear my state channel and he may be like, yeah, this guy doesn't know jack shit. And to a degree, he's right, because I never played the NBA and I never did this and I never did that. And a lot of what I do is just from my own coaching experience and just studying the game of basketball. And there is some learnedness to it, but in some ways, I'm still just a fan. And what I say doesn't fucking matter. And I hope that the players realize this, because I'd hate to think that they go and scroll on Twitter for their hashtag and just read every single thing that is under hashtag Scotty Barnes, because that would just not be healthy. It's just not healthy. Be like Kawhi, be like OG. Just shut that whole part of the world out, the internet world, where people can just espouse their opinions. Anybody can, and say whatever the fucking stupid shit they want. So hopefully they just don't look at this stuff. And Scotty's got to realize this is going to be this way no matter where he goes. He can go play for the Lakers, he can go play for any team in this league, and there's still going to be toxic, weird fans that are going to be doing weird shit like this. So it's not that it's like just here. So they all need to know that. They know that every team there'll be this problem. It doesn't change. Monique's saying, good morning, everyone, and happy game day. How are we feeling about tonight? Well, we've been talking about this a little bit already, Superfan Monique Lawrence. And we're not feeling totally confident, and we shouldn't. Honestly, we really shouldn't. The way that they've played, we've won 2 out of our last 7 games, and they've won 13 out of their last 16 or something. So it's like, how are we supposed to feel like real confident about the way the win streaks and the way teams have been winning recently between our team and their team? So yeah, it's tall order, but hey, it's an opportunity also to overachieve and do something that everybody thinks we probably can't do. And that really is impressive in some ways. Plus, we got to stop a streak. This is the kind of thing where Kyle would come in when he was on our team, Lowry, and he would tell the guys, he'd be like, look, we cannot get swept by the Nets. We have more pride than this. We're the Raptors. We give a shit. We do not want to get swept by them for the season. And really like make a very impassioned, powerful speech to motivate these guys to be like, you know what? He's right. We don't want to get swept by the Nets and have this bullshit happening. It's really easy motivational speech in some ways today to say, like, look, let's just not get swept. We almost get swept by the Sixers in the playoffs, and we see how we respond. This is the same dudes that were there for that. So why wouldn't they respond in this way today when faced with a division rival and getting swept by them for the season series? Is hopefully they will. G saying exactly, Cool Cat. They think they are doing Scotty a favor bashing Fred. No, it shows the blueprint of how easily fans can turn. Yeah, I hate all that. But once again, hopefully they're just not listening to them. And look, I mean, like I said, once again, if they want to come with negative mindsets, they're negative people. And there's no reason to tear down other players because you love the other one player on the team. That's just stupid mentality. Once again, I think also it's outside forces. They're just like not totally Raptors people. They're sports people, maybe in Toronto, but they're more hockey people, or maybe they're more baseball or something. I don't know. I'm a fun guy saying, I hear the positivity, guys, but truth is Fred is very, very prone to scrutiny and bashing. In fact, he's cost us many games, so I don't blame the bashing. It's the reality. Well, in some ways, I really respect him for putting the things on his shoulders and being the guy that could get a lot of the criticism. It's not easy. He could shy away from it. He could shrink away from it. He could be scared of it, but he doesn't. He understands this is just part of it. And he's such a badass about it. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. That's the one thing I go say. Scotty could learn from Fred about how not to give a shit about what we are saying. Because Fred don't give a fuck what we're saying. He's going to do what he's going to do either way. And, it's sad because in some ways, Fred's stature and just who he is, it makes him prone to be scrutinized no matter what. It's always going to be easy for people to say he's just too short. It's always going to be easy for people to say, oh, well, he can't do this, he can't do that. Well, he can do a whole lot of other things and stuff like that. But he puts himself in the crosshairs for scrutiny because he is the guy who has the balls to fucking try and win the game and take big shots and do the things that either succeed or fail. And a lot of times in his history, in his playing career, he's succeeded. It's just there's been some failure recently, but even last year, we saw a ton of success with this unit and the team that he's on right now, with him leading it and us leading us to victory by hitting huge threes late in the fourth and carrying us to a W. So it's like it goes one way, it goes both ways with him. He gets the glory when he wins, and he gets the bullshit when he loses. And that's just what it is. It's just how it is. That's how leaders are. Pascal's the same thing. It's the same thing. He's going to get bashed too. We bashed him a bit for not showing up in the last game. At the end of the game, where was the scoring in the fourth quarter to carry us home, Pascal? Well, it was a little layup and it rolled right out. And it is what it is. But it's not like we hate these guys. We understand they're good dudes and they really do care, and they're going to get us to the promised land and help us win in the long run. It's just that times they're going to they're going to not look good and they're going to fail, and then everybody's going to come crashing down on them. And it's just a part of it. It's just a part of it. G's saying, why are they bashing him after the Sacramento loss? That's the problem. He can do no right at this moment with these fans. Everything is a problem. Constant whining and crying. I'm totally with you, G. It's kind of like I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to use this example. There's somebody in my life that I really care about, and their father is always on their case. It doesn't matter. Like, they're always telling them, clean the house, do this, do that. She couldn't do enough to make this man happy. She could do everything perfect, and he'd still find something to point out that she still needs to do around the house. So it's like there's no pleasing some of these kind of people. Whether it's the person I'm talking about with their father, or it's these fans, they're gonna find something, because it's part of it is inside their heads that they just need things to complain about, that they just need to have something to get upset about, because they need that in their life. They need that outlet for that. And you could do everything in the world and be a people pleaser and try and make them happy, and it would never, never, ever be enough. They're still gonna find something to be disappointed about and tell you that you're a failure. So this is what's happening here. Is it's never good enough for these people, and they're always going to find something. So they need to just shut up. I say, like, the mute button on Twitter is great. Blocking on any social media. If you find that somebody's just like this, just say, fuck you. I don't need to listen to you, because there's so many other people out here that aren't saddled with such negativity, and that are going to find whatever fault, no matter how good he does. He got 39 points and played an exceptional game on Wednesday. He put his body on the line, got beat up, hit in the face, smacked all around. I have so much respect for that. And yeah, we lost by 1 point, but still, you're going to come down on him because of one play where it looks like Scotty's freaking out at him for not throwing the ball to him? That's fucked up. So like I said, there's going to be some people nothing's ever good enough for them. You could do everything perfect, and they'll still find one little thing, and they'll tell you, oh, you didn't do this. Yeah, that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. Mike's saying, fun guy, not going to lie. Fred VanVleet isn't the reason we lost most of the game, but he's the reason we won most of our games. So acting like Fred isn't pushing, winning, then blame him for the losses doesn't make sense. Mike is such an educated opinion on a lot of this stuff. I mean, he really gets into the bread and butter as logical Raptors fanatic. And he can really substantiate and prove what he's saying with evidence. So it's like, I mean, listen, they're going to just see things. And part of it is that in some ways it's so dumb. And I work on this in my own head, is we can't look at the Raptors as being extensions of ourselves. We can't wonder this team is like, because we're huge fans, it's like, oh, we ride or die with them. We go with the emotional roller coaster of wins and losses throughout the season. That some people don't like that pain. So they hit out at where they think the failure is happening. And it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Listen, y'all aren't on the team. These losses are just losses. This is a professional team. This happens. You need to just chill out and just detach yourself from your own emotions, from being so involved in the team. Trust me, when I was an alcoholic that was active and drinking a lot, I had so much trouble with this. And I had to work on this. Separating how the game makes you feel. Like they could be losing like they are right now, and I'd be in a huge depression. I wouldn't shower. I wouldn't eat. I would drink my face off every single day when the Raptors would be losing like this in the late 2000s before I got sober. And it was a horrible thing. It actually helped ruin my marriage. And part of the reason why she left me is because I would get so upset about Raptors losing and drink and put my head in the bottle and just feel so depressed. I had to detach from my own sanity, my feelings in my life personally, away from what was happening with the team. I had to learn that lesson. And I feel like some people aren't doing a good enough job of this right now. Sure, you know what? If you can't watch them right now, you need to turn the TV off because they're losing too much. Go ahead. but stop acting like what they do makes your life better or worse. Your life is separate. You don't have anything to do with them other than you root for them and you want them to do well. So let's stop losing with them. That's what I'm saying. I put that on Raptor fans to stop losing with them. And maybe if you stop feeling like you're losing with them, you stop being so critical and mean to them. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I really am. Nako saying, statistically speaking, the lowest we can get is the play-in. If we were to manage to get Jordan Clarkson and Jacoperto Mobamba, we could make a good run. There's no guarantees with getting any of those guys. I mean, Pirtle would be great because we know he'd fit, but I'm not a big fan of Clarkson. I know everybody's been talking about Clarkson this, Clarkson that. I don't think he's one of our answers. Mobama's just more of what we already got. I mean, I guess he would be like a center ahead of Koloko because he's been around a little longer, and he may be able to fit that role in some ways. But I'm like, I don't know. Statistically, you think we can only get the play-in the lowest? No, I think we could fall out of the playoffs too. Trust me, we could. We could be one of those 5 teams that don't get into the play-in. And, in some ways that may not be the worst thing in the world just because of the draft this year. But we'll have to see. Let's just see how it goes. We're going to really have to take it game by game and see how they do and see where we're at as the season goes on. And I know they'll be adjusting, and it may be that Masai and Bobby do make a move in response to not playing well enough and not winning enough. So we'll have to see. Tom Duke saying, if Otto is injured until just before the playoffs, then kills it, I will be happy. Here's your chicken for the refs. All right, you brought a little chick. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, the Otto Porter signing is really for the playoffs, is really kind of for that. We don't need him too much during the season. We need him to get integrated and learning to play with our guys and more familiar with them. But in some ways, he's such a vet, and he's not really a regular season kind of player for you to have on your team in some ways. He really is like a playoff kind of guy to have on your playoff team. But we do need him to get healthy and get integrated and play a stretch of time with us so he can get really good feelings and good chemistry. And that hopefully we'll have that before the end of the season. Trust, it'll happen. Isaac saying, fun guy. The team has had to adapt to injuries, including Fred. Criticism's fine, but it needs to be balanced. Fred cannot be blamed for the lack of rebounding. Well, that's for sure, since he got 8 rebounds, the most rebounds of anybody in that game. Yeah, I mean, listen, Fred is going to get criticism because he's a leader on this team. That's just how it is. Just like Kyle used to before. You step into Kyle's shoes, you're going to get the same kind of criticisms, and things that happened to Kyle are happening to Fred now. So it's just part of it. It's just part of being a leader on a team in the NBA and having success and failure. You're going to feel it. Every single player in the league that's important has this. LeBron, he goes through this. Every single one of them. You don't think Zion heard so much shit last year when he was hurt and now he's coming back? Nothing's easy for any of these guys. They get criticized left and right all over the place. There's such a public display that they really, really get overanalyzed in some ways. And because basketball has so few players on its team, it's real easy for them to be super scrutinized. I mean, the NBA may be the most scrutinized sport of the 4 major sports. Hockey players don't get enough attention. There's too many football players. And in some ways, there's too many baseball players also. And the baseball players are kind of hidden and not really well known like a basketball player is. So the NBA has certain problems with, scrutiny of their players that other leagues don't have completely. So, all right, let's keep going. G saying they lost to Sacramento because Sacramento made 17 threes and Sacramento had 13 more rebounds, leading to all those second chance points. So why focus on a few shots from Fred? The 3-point and rebounding deficit was around 43. Yeah, really, really bad. Those are areas that we're really had trouble for sure. Toby saying, get over it, bro. We suck. Well, right now, I won't disagree with you, Toby. We do suck right now. And that's why we need to change that. Hopefully tonight we can do something. So who knows? This is a positive space, though. And I don't know what you want me to get over. You want me to get over loving the Raptors? Well, I'm going to love the Raptors still. You want me to get over wanting them to be good and win? Well, I'm going to continue to do that still. So I don't know what I'm going to get over here. I got to get over that they lose from time to time right now. Yeah, and I can do that in a healthy way. And I wish all y'all could do that too. I'm not talking about people in here. I'm talking about all Raptors nation. Monique is saying, let's not knock down our players. What if it was you? Exactly. It's so weird. Like, Russell Westbrook, think about what he went through last season with the fans. And, there's so much that NBA players get that's worse than like, and some, maybe some football players worldwide, like big time football players, like World Cup guys, maybe they get criticized in certain ways on the country level, like Messi and all those guys. But, the NBA players they get the most out of all sports. Maybe Tom, if you're somebody like Tom Brady, like a very well-known quarterback or something, like, sure, you get it a bit too, but a lot of the guys in the NBA, the MLB and the NFL are fairly unknown. They're average Joe guys that are like, oh, I don't know who that is. Oh, I play for the Blue Jays. Okay. And the hockey guys too. Half of them, maybe Austin Matthews gets a lot of scrutiny because he's in Toronto and the media here. But the things that NBA players deal with is on a whole other level. I'm sorry. They get the most scrutiny out of anyone in sports. Seriously. Space Cadet saying, preach, Lex. That clip is also taken out of context. Fred eventually passed it to Pascal, who had a mismatch, and that led to an open three for Gary. Yet people only focus on those few seconds of Scotty. That's right. He may have missed a golden opportunity to hit Scotty up in an open part of the court. But what happened? The outcome was still good. We still scored. And that's what people are conveniently forgetting. I don't know, man. It's like every little thing they're going to try and look for. And Scotty really does betray his emotions his emotions betray him on the court quite often. Whether it's how upset he got when in the playoffs, him and Precious hit in a Matisse Thybulle shot. Or that situation that we're talking about this week with him freaking out over Fred coming down the court. It's a silly clip. It really is. But Scotty's like, whoa, whoa. Maybe he's just really trying to make himself be seen. But you see him kind of pout and get upset also in the moment. There's some immaturity with Scott that he's going to have to figure out and get figured out. He's such a competitor, and I know it comes from a good place. It's from a competitive spirit. It's not a selfish spirit. It's because he wants to win. And he knows that he's going to make he wants to make the best play, and he sees it. It may be in some ways his court vision is better than Fred's, and that he sees something more than Fred does in that moment. He's frustrated because he wanted to have the ball in that moment to try and set somebody up. It could have been Fred could have thrown it to Scotty, and Scotty was boom right to somebody, and that may have been a way easier shot to make than the one that they eventually made with Gary hitting the three. So, in some ways I can see where he's frustrated and I understand it. But once again, there's a pecking order. And you know what? That play could be played in practice the next day, and they could look at it and be like, Fred, you missed an opportunity. Look at Scotty there. Oh, I can't miss him in the clip because he's really woo. It's such a weird clip. Let's see. Callie saying the Bucks got killed last night. Orlando has winning streak going. Anything can happen. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Listen. That is not a normal Orlando team. We can't get upset about it. They made, how we clicked in December last year and everything started going real good for us. They may have got that this year for Orlando. That it may be like Banchero just figured it out enough already in his first year that he's going to be helping them. And you add in that size, that overwhelming size of Bol. It's like Bol is finally like sprouting and really playing into his potential in an effective way right now. You got Mo Bamba, who's way more savvy, and he's very smart as a player at this point. You got Franz Wagner, who does all kinds of different things for them. They're a very scary team, and they're legit. And it's no joke that they've continued to win since we played them also. So, yeah, Orlando's all about winning right now. Did they win last night? Seriously, let me look at this. No, they didn't play last night, but they played the night before. Let me see. What did they do? They beat Atlanta. Atlanta's having all kinds of problems right now. They got Capella's out now for a couple weeks. So Atlanta's going to really slide right now. Let's see. Sue's saying, that's right, Callie. Anything can happen in the NBA. We got this. That's right. On any given night, any given team can beat any other given team in this league. I don't care how badass or good they are. The expansion Toronto Raptors beat Michael Jordan's Bulls team in their first year of existence. You think that the Jordan Bulls were easy to beat by the Damon Stoudemire Toronto Raptors? That's what I'm saying. This league has not changed. Any like poor, horrible 20-win team can rise up and beat a very top team in this league on any given night. So that's why you want to work on the percentages to work in your favor so that you'll win and you have the best opportunity to win. But that chance to lose in any of these games is always there. And that's why you have to be professional and take care of business and ensure you have the best possibility to win, because every team this year, especially, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the NBA like this before, where there's not a single damn team in this league that sucks. There's always at least one team that is absolute shite and is just a penciled in win that you're getting on the schedule. There's none of that this year. Detroit, you cannot say that about Detroit, even without Cade Cunningham. You cannot say that about Houston with those young athletes down there. You can't say it about San Antonio, even though they're in a complete rebuild. And Coach Popovich is like, still there. He's the coach. He can still beat you just being a coach like he is. So there's no slouch teams in this league this year. None of them. I thought maybe Indiana might be a slouch this year. No, they're not in a slouch. Sacramento is not a slouch team anymore that's easy to beat. So it's like these teams in the past couple of years that have been easy because they're young and inexperienced and kind of you can fool them. Well, they're getting smarter and they're getting more talented and they're coming along. Oklahoma City is another one. So this league's just harder. It's just harder overall in general in a lot of ways. So let's see. That's right. Toby, that's your views. Not a good one. Tom's calling you out. Let's see. Cool Cat saying Mike Brown is using Golden State's playing style. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's a West Coast style. They're both in the same state. He's stealing a little bit. That's what they do. It's like Casey in Detroit. He's stealing some of the stuff that he used here in Toronto. He's just using it there. So there are teams that kind of mimic. If a team coaches on one team for a while, they take some of that DNA from that team from before. Mike Brown was assistant coach for Steve Kerr for a few years in Golden State. Well, he's taking that DNA to Sacramento, just like Casey took the Raptors DNA to Detroit. So it is part of it. I'm a fun guy saying I really like Gary. I don't want to trade him, but I also do anticipate it. We can get a nice return for him. Any guard with actual dribbling skills back for Gary will help us at that 2 spot. I want us to improve with a shooter. Like if we're going to trade Gary, it really was like a weird deal. Like the Norman for Gary trade was an upgrade in certain ways because it did help us in some ways. Now I'd like to do that again in a similar way. Like if we do a similar kind of trade this time with Gary, where we get another shooter slasher kind of like player from another team, but their contract kind of works better with the puzzle pieces of what we're trying to do with our overall scheme of things with our salary cap, then, this could be really smart. We get somebody who's more sure shot in some ways. Now, not that Gary's not a sure shot in some ways, but he does go through streaks of missing. What we need to do is get a really super consistent jump shooter and trade to get Gary switched out for him. If we're going to make that deal, that's what I'd like to see the most. Now, some people have said we need a backup point guard right now. I think that's crazy. But in some ways, that argument has actually made sense to me recently, because what the role of a backup point guard does on an NBA team is they very much settle things down and go back to the fundamentals of I'm a point guard and I'm going to give you assists. It could be that you have a weird starting point guard that isn't traditional, but it always is good to have that break in case emergency point guard off the bench to instill and establish a consistency on the court. And that's why people want that backup point guard they're talking about. We have a committee of backup point guards, and then we don't really have a very sound, true point guard as far as like who is the point guard right now. This is maybe one of the biggest things we need to figure out right now is who is the point guard. And who is going to be our backup point guard, and start establishing these roles where the guys that are those roles are actually working in them. Because I think that that's a big part of what our problem is right now. We are rudderless without point guard leadership on our team because it was very muddled who our point guard was going in the season. We may have had the best intentions of having Scotty be our new point guard this season and Fred come out the off guard, but everything's gone to shit and we can't do that without, we have to go through growing pains of learning it, and it's just not easy to do. And right now we need to kind of go back to bread and butter, what's already established and works, and that's just the point guards, like being point guards. And in some ways, I think that might help a lot with what's our problems are right now. We just need point guards to play like point guards and have point guard kind of things going on because we don't really have that. even off the bench. If you're not going to play Delano and Malachi off the bench hardly, well, then you're really just kind of starting 3 pseudo point guards in Fred, Pascal, and Scotty. And you're just throwing it up in the air to let these guys collect all the pieces as they fall to the ground and try and make things happen as the game goes on. That's not going to work. You need to have a designated dude who's the singular guy, who's the distributor, and stop this mess because it's not working in that way. I think that is one of the biggest problems with our Raptors this year is that we don't have a designated point guard. Last year, Fred was the designated point guard. No ifs, ands, or buts. Well, this year it's been ambiguous and nobody's filling in the void on a daily, night-to-night basis of being that point guard and helping us in that way. So I want to see that. I want to see what's going on. If there's a backup point guard that has dribbling skills and that can help us, that's the kind of person that I would like to get in return for Gary if we are going to trade him. We definitely have to make up for his offensive skills and his output because he's maybe one of the most capable offensive players on our team right now. We're going to have to fill that void in that deal coming back for him also. So let's see it, Toby. Get over it. Not everyone is a Debbie Downer. That's right. I got my light here. This is my seasonal depression light. It's too dark outside. I need a little light on me. G saying, not tough for me, win or lose. I already tempered my expectations this season. They were very young and champ vets were replaced by raw young talent. I love the journey and have faith in the organization. I love hearing that, G. In some ways, we were lucky last year. This could have easily happened all last year. But instead, we were able to find a way to develop and win at the same time. That's very rare and hard to do. In fact, that makes me realize how special and amazing our season was last year, that we were able to do 2 things that just don't normally go together. And they're very hard to do together. And we were super successful at it last year. Well, this year we're not. And it sucks. It's tough. But who knows? Maybe we can be a little bit successful at it in the second half of the season and have a good go out like we did last year. We just got to figure it out. But developing and winning at the same time is so hard to do. In fact, in some ways, they're like opposites. You're just not going to win when you're developing a lot of players who are learning. If they just naturally win because they're so good, that's fantastic. But it's not usually the case. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, end of the day, we are being entertained. Thank you, Raptors. That's right, Tom Duke. Let's keep it all in perspective. And Alistair saying, Siakam needs one more guy. I don't know. Maybe like I keep saying, whatever we need is usually from within. And it was just that we need somebody that's already here to just step up and be that one more guy. And it could be somebody that we just didn't even think of. Maybe Delano all of a sudden becomes that one more guy or something. Who knows? Mike saying G's locked in the right mindset. Unrealistic expectations creates negative, let down energy in which a logical, fair perspective keeps you looking at right things and feel good from seeing real grow. Listen, I think that it's good to have unrealistic expectations to a degree. Because I'm that kind of guy. I was like, look, let's shoot for the moon. Let's go all the way to the top. And, that's part of the reason why I do unrealistic expectations sometimes. People will say I'm unrealistic when I say I think the Raptors can win a championship this year. But you got to start from there. You got to start from the very top. And, as the year goes on, if it doesn't seem like it's very realistic, then, okay, I will change my expectations on this. But it's not because I'm disappointed or anything like that or sad. It's just that I understand this is how it is. And that's the way the Raptor fans need to have that perspective. Sure, be optimistic and shoot for the moon and say, oh, this team could go all the way. But when it's not really actually happening, don't act like it's so sad and depressing. And just say, look, well, it's just not our year in some ways. I know that's kind of Leaf speak. But in some ways, it's important to do in sports. It's just throw your hands up and say, well, it's just not our year right now. But it could change. And that's the thing. They're still working towards changing it, and hopefully they can fix it. We'll have to see. Monique saying, let's be positive fans. Go Raptors. A true doubleheader tonight. That's right. We got both teams playing at the same time, 7:30. Mississauga and Toronto. Both cities are getting it. Lolita's saying so many negative about the Raptors because of losing streak. But when it's winning streaks, they will be the first one to say, see, I knew the Raptors is my team. Well, that's why, you just want to be a good fan yourself, Lolita. You can't, we can't control them. They're going to do this no matter what. And just be a good role model as a Raptor fan yourself. That's the best way to do it. Country Kong saying, have a great day, you guys. Let's go, Raps. Thank you, Country Kong. You have a great Friday also. TGIF, even though TGIF is not good for the Raptors because we have not won on a Friday yet this season. And that is really weird too, to me. Like, that is a weird thing. Now, the refs are very favorable for us tonight. So I don't think it's going to be a ref hit job against us. We'll have to see. They may be like, oh, they're probably just going to beat them. So we don't need to send refs to hit job them tonight on a Friday because of the mismatch between the Nets and the Raptors tonight. We'll have to see. Cool Cat saying Scotty is from U.S. and might prefer to accept toxic fans at home in the U.S. rather than dealing with toxic fans outside the U.S. I don't think that's true either. It may be that, like, listen, the whole USA Canada thing could be an issue with Scotty and his decision later down the road. I'm not going to lie. That could very well be an issue. A lot of these young players on our team don't like Canada's cold, but they're stupid because there's cold just as much in all the northern cities in the NBA. So it's really silly. But, I don't know if he's like that. I don't think he's like that. I don't think he thinks that way. That it's like, I don't think he separates American from Canadian in that kind of way. Just from being on the Twitch with him, Cool Cat, we've been in there. And it's not like he loves Canadian people the same as he loves American people. And I don't really think that he thinks in that kind of perspective. I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't like take it that way. Because in some ways, that's kind of like a weird way to look at the world, I guess. I don't know. And it's not his way. I think that they're going to be just as negative towards him anywhere he goes. And he may not know that from not experiencing it. But if he did go somewhere else, he may find that stark reality that is true. And that it did matter that where he goes. I don't think this is going to be a factor in what's happening with him, the fans, and whether they're being negative or toxic or anything like that. I really don't. In fact, sometimes I feel like part of it is us as fans feeling like we're way more important than we really are. Like these guys don't like. Hopefully, they don't really like get too bogged down with us on media or anywhere, social media. Jay Conda's here. Good to see Jay Conda every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here talking Raptors live on YouTube, and I hope you'll subscribe. You have subscribed because you're here, and join us more often. Gonna be a great game for sure. Let's go Raptors! I love that attitude. Listen, like I said, even if we don't win tonight, we win. Obviously, I want us to win. Let's try and look for the positives and build on things instead of just like being, yeah, we suck, and just like not looking for the good things that are actually developing and starting to change. If you're really astute and you really pay attention to the game tonight, you may be able to see things that the Raptors are doing that are really showing that they're on the right track and they're moving towards good things to happen in the future. I hope we win tonight. I really, really do hope we win tonight, but I'm going to be modest and careful about expecting it. I really, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but if they win, that's fantastic. And thank you, Jay Conda, for coming in and shining a light. It's awesome. G saying one thing not talked about and is low key valuable are screens. Without good screens, players can't get open and may be a reason for their shooting woes. Yes. Yes. I want them to start thinking that way. Part of the reason why we love Ken Burch out on the court so much is that he does it naturally. Why don't our guys do this more? I know Scotty's doing some pretty good screening too as a young player. He's learning it. Coloco's doing it too. But any of those guys could be doing it. Pascal, OG, all those guys could be. Freddie, you could be throwing screens around for people too. So yeah, I'd love to see more screens for sure. I totally agree with this statement by G. Monique saying, so true, Lolita, so true. Go Raptors. Yes. And go Monique Lawrence. Are you going to the game? I don't think, you haven't said you're going to the game. Probably not, since you didn't say it. Nameless is saying, Chef's definitely listening to you, Lex. Suddenly he's Mr. Positive. Okay, cool. Listen, if I have any impact on you guys who are coming in here, that's great. But if I'm an impact on Aaron Rose to be more positive with his reporting and not talking about trades all the time, he may be really thinking about how do I want to shape my material and what I look at now to make people like the Raptors freak and the Raptor freaks like get more into this. And listen to my stuff. I may hit a chorus like you want Raptor fans to like you and to be interested in your content. Well, make it for us and really think about who your target audience is. I say that for all content makers. It's like, why do we want to come in and hear all the negativity and just like dump it and all this kind of stuff? We can do that in our own head. We need other ways to think about this and maybe shine a light. And I love that. If he's listening to me, that's great. That's great. Chev, go, Chev, and keep fighting the good fight with your mouth. You're doing a good job. Lolita's saying at Mo, I love the Raptors, win or lose. I will stand for them. I'd rather win, obviously. Laugh out loud. Yeah, of course. That's what we got to do. Like, listen, it's going to be hard. It may be hard for this season. It could be a very long season in certain ways, but it may be very enjoyable in some weird ways also. We got to take it as it comes and just we're along for the ride. We're sitting on the side and we're eating popcorn. We have nothing to do. Maybe we have some influence as fans in the stands with our voices. Maybe I have a little bit of influence and you guys too from our voices being on this channel and putting out ideas and talking about the team. But in a lot of ways, we don't have any control over what's going to happen with this team. And we just need to be spectators and just watch and just observe and just root for our team and love them regardless. Unconditional. That's what I'm saying. You got to have an unconditional love for your NBA team. If you have conditions, then you're not really a fan. It's like anything in this world. It's like if you have conditions on something, then maybe it's not totally the right thing. Let's keep going. Nameless saying Raptors just need to get healthy. If you're missing a few ingredients from a soup, it's not going to taste very well. Imagine a soup with no salt. Well, that's the Raptors right now, a saltless soup. Great example, Nameless. I've used this stew analogy before. It's like if you have a couple of the ingredients that aren't in the stew, it's not going to taste exactly right. And I think Nameless is very wise in saying this because we just need to get healthy. And until we see Precious back out there and Otto and we're OG back too. We're not fully who we really are. Kenny's saying I need a 2-game winning streak. Yes. This Warriors game on Sunday is looking like a very winnable game right now, the way it's starting to shape up. The Warriors are already kind of down this season. They're very similar to us, actually. They're having a very disappointing year so far. And Steph Curry going out now is going to really allow us possibly to have a good chance to beat the Warriors on Sunday. I feel better about that game than I do about the game tonight or the second night of a back-to-back in Philadelphia against the Sixers on Monday. But the Warriors game is very winnable. So if we win tonight somehow, some way, maybe we can win against Golden State on Sunday. We could feel way better real quick. Trust me. Kareem saying, I want to try that off the ball Freddie experiment again, like we did at the beginning of the season. Let's have Scotty bring the ball up more. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I don't even know how they determine that. I really think it's just kind of like some ways I can tell that they just kind of get the ball up as quickly as possible. So the next guy, and it doesn't really matter if somebody dribbles it up. But sometimes they're still reverting to like dribbling it up, like in that clip. That's what Fred was doing. But I agree with you. I'd like to see Scotty be more the point guard, even if we're going to lose already. Why not throw him into the fire and we'll just really go through development hell of losing and making mistakes because we're already losing already. I don't know. That's the thing with Nick. He's like all out with his minutes on the starters and really trying to get the best quality play out there, but we're still losing. What's the point, man? Wave the white flag and start developing the young guys without regards of this, depending on how things are going soon. Because in some ways you've got to recalibrate your goals for this season at this point in some ways. Maybe coming in this season when we're healthy and we're looking real good from Rico Hines and everything, yeah, we're a real championship contender in the East. But at this point, it may not be true. And we may need to recalibrate what our overall goals for this season are. And it may be more developing and getting more time for young guys to get better and better, even while we lose already. So I'm thinking that may be what we start doing if we do lose even more this month. Let's see. Nameless Isaac Campbell saying facts. Even with a lot of space, precious. Even with a lot of spice, precious ingredients Otto be there to be the OG soup. Yeah, we just need those ingredients back in the soup so it'll taste the best it can. Logical Raptors fanatics say Nameless. El Selector is happening after the game. I'm going to be on tonight. Just FYI, things got upset from my move. Okay, I'm not sure what that is about. But Cool Cat saying, we saw this bashing nonsense from Vince, T-Mac, Bosch, DeMar, Kyle, Pascal, Fred, Scotty will be next. Elements in our fan base always do this crap. It's embarrassing. Vince and T-Mac, they didn't have it like this because the internet was nothing like it is at this point. This is really something since Facebook started in 2007. And even like in the Bosch years, this kind of internet scrutiny was not involved. It really is started with Kyle and DeMar, and it's really getting even worse in this new era of Raptors. It's just a totally different world as far as like the internet and social media and different platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything that's out there. So in some ways, I can't see. I mean, the bashing of Vince and T Mac, they were guarded from it, and it was not totally the same kind of thing at that point. And then it was very early in Facebook's like part when Chris Bosh was on our team. So they've all been kind of like safe from it. It is much more new kind of thing, which just in the new world of the last 12 years. So it is crazy. It is embarrassing, but once again, there's nothing different about what we're doing than Celtics Nation, than Nets Nation, than Sixers Nation. They all have the same exact shit going on in theirs too. Trust me. Jason Tatum has a bad game. There's people that hate Jason Tatum in the Celtics fandom that probably bash him from time to time and wish they get rid of him. There's probably a few that hate Jaylen Brown. There's people that don't like Joel Embiid. In fact, there's a whole thing that's going on right now, even with Joel Embiid playing like a monster recently, that there's a lot of Philly fans that want him traded and out of there. So this is just on every single team, and we can't be too sensitive to it. And hopefully the players are, like I said, they're not even seeing it. They have the blinders and they don't give a shit. Because honestly, they shouldn't. They really shouldn't. Lolita's saying, since NBA is a copycat league, what about doing the same thing to Jaw and Griffin's play against them? Laugh out loud. I'm not totally sure what you're talking about. Wait, anything that anybody did good against the Nets, if we can duplicate it tonight, sure. That's really a big reason why we're having so much trouble is the secret's out on how to stop us in a couple different ways, and everybody's listening and they're doing it. They're limiting our offensive rebounds, which is a huge part of our game, and continue to get a lot of shots. And when we don't get offensive rebounds, we don't get enough opportunities to beat the other team. So they box us out, and that's really hurt us. And that's a scout on us right now. But I'm not even sure what you're saying. What about doing the same thing to Ja and Griffin's play against them? I don't even know. Ja Morant did something in the Nets. I hope we can win. I hope we can win. Name was saying, I'll be there, logical. I like that cat too. Okay, you guys are talking about something I don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm just gonna skip. No doubt the 2023 champions is a good energy, but just know that's best result and look to where the fair result is. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can still pie in the sky. Like, obviously, it's still the ultimate goal is to win Larry O'Brien's, but you have to temper your expectations and kind of like guide what your short-term goals are if they have to change for this particular season. Raymond Jacobs saying, is Downton not viable anymore? I thought he was balling. No, Downton's playing great. He played once again really well for the 905. I think the 905 just really needs him right now. And this is the kind of thing where he could play really well during the whole 905 G League season. And then he gets, like I said, he's going to get made into a full contract, and he'll be around on the team more near the end of the season, gearing up for the playoffs, hopefully. And he will be more involved then. But right now, they absolutely need him on the 905 level in some ways. So I don't know. In some ways, I was like, Jeff Doughton here or there, but he's going to be playing for 905 tonight. He'll be in Mississauga. He won't be there for the Raptors game tonight, which is too bad. In some ways, he could really help us. Isaac St. Doughton is balling. Love watching that guy play. He's great. They did a whole thing yesterday. A lot of the Raptors were in the community giving back. And they did the 905 did a giveaway with school children, and Jeff was there giving talking to the kids and being a role model, sitting in the chairs, kind of talking to all the kids and stuff. Chris Boucher was giving out stuff in Scarborough yesterday. Lots of good charitable holiday stuff done by the Raptors on all kinds of different places all over the place yesterday. So it was really good to see the Raptors organization, 905 organization, doing things in the community on an off day on Thursday. Let's see. Jay Conda's saying, more than enough time to correct. Do not let media fool you. Raptors are going to pop soon. Move batch get the way Raptors pushing through. I love it. I love this. Jay Conda, you're like rookie of the day. You're coming in with a really nice, fresh energy and the right kind of stuff. I love hearing this. The media, they've been fairly fair with the Raptors this year in some ways. They really are reiterating the injuries are a huge part of why we're struggling right now. And they know in some ways Michael Grange and these guys are saying, like, well, when they're healthy, well, we'll have to see if they're good or not. And this is so true. And I think Jay Conda's right. Like, listen, if we just figure it out right now, we can beat these big teams even before Precious comes back. Then if we're feeling real good with some good feeling inertia around New Year's and Precious comes in and he just adds to us already kind of figuring it out and getting going, look out. We could really be gangbusters in 2023 to start. So it does really feel like that last year in some ways. That December was a really dark month for us last year also. Not only like outside with the weather and the way things are, but just dark for our team. And then like in the new year, we just exploded and went crazy. So I hope this is what's going to happen. And Jay Conda believes in it. So you know what? I'm going to go with Jay Conda. I'm going to believe in this too. Logical Raptors fanatics saying, not gonna lie, when Siakam and Fred say it's hard to win, they mean this. Things happen and things aren't always perfect. Sometimes you're gonna win by 30 or 1 and lose by 30 or 1. It's hard to win and takes a team pushing. They've been talking about this a lot. And in some ways, Pascal may seem a little casual about it, but he's not. Trust me. He's very, very understands how hard it is to win this league. And that's something that we don't understand. We don't totally understand just how hard it is to win the NBA. Well, these guys do, and they'll figure it out. I really do believe this. They've got the right attitude, and they've done it before. It's not like this kind of stuff hasn't happened with this Raptors team in the last couple of years. You can think about Tampa year. You can think about last year at different times. These dudes have been through this before, and the pattern is always almost the same. They have struggles, and then boom, all of a sudden they're out and running, and things are good again, just like Jay Conda's saying. So yeah, I see it. Cool Cat saying, I wouldn't mind increasing the 6 to 6'11 vision. We can have OG and Pascal do perimeter defense. They're very good at it. I hope Jeff Doughton joins the main team. He is a great floor manager. Yeah, I like everything about Cool Cat's statement here. The 6'11 vision is very intriguing. Cleveland and Orlando kind of have a bigger vision than we do with their Tower City and the 6'11 vision that's going on in Orlando. But I don't know. It'd be really hard to adjust our team in that way. In some ways, I guess we could kind of upgrade and get taller in some ways, maybe too. And I've always loved the idea of OG and Pascal getting to play guard. I've always loved that idea because I knew that they both could. And if they're playing at guard, that means we have bigger guys out there. So I've always loved OG at the shooting guard or like Pascal playing point forward. That's always good. Raymond Jacobs saying he's laughing at Isaac Coolcat, free Doughton. Yeah, we'll have to see. Give it some time. Doughton's doing some important things on that other level, but he will rise up and be on the main team. Watch. Blackhawk saying, look at how Raptors are losing, and I'm not talking about the last 5 minutes of the game. The defense needs more work. Run players off three-point line and reduce the drives in the paint. Yeah, I mean, there are some key things that we could clean up with our defense. And Thad was very candid about it yesterday, saying we're just not rotating correctly. We're doing a lot of different things not correctly exactly, and it's all adding up to certain lapses and stuff. But there has been really good stretches of doing good defense in the last 2 games. That we've done a very, very good defense in that second Orlando game. I would say for maybe like 3.5 quarters of the game, there was really only half quarter of the game that we didn't play solid defense. And then the game on Wednesday, it's a little different. We maybe played less good defense in that game, but maybe only just a quarter of bad defense. So, like, that's not bad. A quarter and a half of bad defense over the last 2 games. We don't want any bad defense at all, but at least we're starting to get it cut down from like before Oklahoma City, New Orleans, the last Brooklyn game. Those were really horrible defensive games, but at least in the last 2 games, we've shown better defense overall, but they can still do better. They could still tighten it up even better. And that's what Thad said. It has to be on a string. It has to be so good. The rotations and everybody like working together in tandem has to be done so well for it to work correctly. And it's not exactly right. Monique saying, I'm not going tonight, Lex. News and notes for all you. Chris Boucher was at the Boys and Girls Club last night with Kayla Gray. That's what I was talking about. He's at Boys and Girls Club in Scarborough, giving out gift packages to kids out there. And so you're not going to the game tonight. Okay, Monique. Well, you can stay home and watch both games. That's a good thing. You can see both of them, hopefully. Kareem saying, check up on friends and family and always end the conversation with I love you. It goes a long way. Rest in peace, Twitch. And it's always fuck Brooklyn. Let's go, KD. Okay, so Kareem's got a lot in here. I'll parse it all out real quick. Let's go, KD is because he's on his fantasy team, and he wants Kevin Durant to play well tonight because of his own selfish fantasy purposes. Check up on friends and family. Yeah, this is really shocking news this week about Twitch. The DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show killed himself, like committed suicide this week at the age of 40. And I know part of it probably is that the end of her show is coming up, as far as like she really messed up with PR, as far as treating people horribly. And in some ways, like, listen, Twitch was a really dutiful guy for her show, and she kind of treated him like shit, probably in real life, like behind the scenes in some ways. And because she did treat everybody on that show pretty bad. She was such a perfectionist and just really hard. And in some ways, he's only known for that show. And since it's going to end, and now I could see where he got to a point where he's like, I don't see any future for myself. And this is so sad because he has children and he had a whole bunch of good things going for him. But when things are so dark, this is why it's important. Like when things are so dark in your life, don't make any kind of huge decisions because they're clouded in that moment of how bad things are right at that moment. And that things could get way better just in the next couple of hours or the next day. And I hate to hear this happen. And this is really awful. And Kareem's got a great message here. Seriously, time on this earth is valuable, and don't waste any time telling people how you feel about them. Make sure the people that you love know that, and tell them that you love them regularly and always. Yes, this is so important. And it really struck me hard when I heard that about his suicide this week, because I don't, he's a good dude. And I could tell that a lot of it is just the pressure and the sadness of that show ending, and like the controversy, the way it ended. And it could be very well that like people maybe were coming at him in ugly ways, like our fan nation comes at our players and saying nasty things to him online about, maybe he was like Ellen's, like, slave guy, or not slave guy, but like, she could push him around and like, he's not that tough. And like, what kind of a man are you? Ellen's been pushing you around for years on your channel. Who knows what kind of bullshit they were saying to him? And it could very well, that was part of the factor. But I think a lot of it had to do probably with the show ending and him not understanding what his career or his future was going to be next. Because he may have thought that Ellen show was going to be on forever. And it may well have been if she hadn't been such a like jerk to all of her employees who were working for her. And that came out and it just ruined the show, because her vibe is supposed to be friendly and nice and everybody loves each other. But if you're actually really a C word behind the scenes and treating everybody that badly, yeah, I hate this whole thing that happened. Rest in peace to Twitch, and my condolences to everybody who cared and loved him. And like, this is horrible. I hate hearing stuff like this week. I really hate it. And it's true. What Kareem's saying is, don't waste any time. Tell people how you feel. I love all y'all guys. I can tell you right now, I love you, Kareem Thomas, and I love all y'all Raptor freaks for coming here and being around me all the time. I'll say it right now. Mike saying, no doubt, the 2023 champion response to you saying some unrealistic is okay. Well, listen, I think that it's realistic to think that your team can win a championship no matter what, because you love them and you think that they're going to do it. And even if we're bad like we are right now, I still think we got a chance no matter what. We're not statistically out. So a lot of things can happen in a lot of times now. Like, it may not be realistic in some ways, but I'm going to still believe it because I'm a Raptor freak, and that's what I'm going to do. Lolita's saying, sorry, it's the buzzer beater play about Jaws pass to Griffin all across the court that they play against us. Oh, okay. You're talking about are you talking about the Atlanta game when AJ Griffin hit that shot? And that was from Trey. Unless you're talking about Memphis. I'm just a little confused. I'm pretty sure that you mean the Atlanta play. Yeah, if we could do that to the Nets and win the game in dramatic fashion right at the end of the game, that'd be fantastic. AJ Griffin's for some reason very clutch, and he's making game-winning shots a lot. Like he's got 2 now this season. Raymond Jacobs saying Raps started 6 vision. Teams then had to up it to stand up against us. After that, it'll be 7-foot vision coming in to beat 6'11" vision teams. Ha ha! Oh my! Raymond Jacob might not be far off. I mean, if Wemby is like showing the signs of the future, these players higher and higher, taller and taller, more skilled. It's crazy. Chuck Nevitt and Will Purdue and these guys, they couldn't do any kind of skills. They had no athleticism. They were just 7 foot. Well, now you're going to maybe have to be their height, but able to do everything that LeBron James can do. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be very crazy. And I mean, that's just how the game's been trending. It's getting taller and more skilled at taller heights. Monique saying CJ Miles spoke highly on Fred's shooting woes. Yeah, I watched that clip that you posted about CJ Miles talking about Fred's shooting woes recently. And he's saying there's a couple different things wrong with it. He's not squaring himself up right. He's shooting erratic. He's saying even when he shoots with his arms, his one arm is like doing weird things all of a sudden and it's making a weird spin. And that's why it's not straight on. There's a lot of shooting mechanics with Fred's shot right now that aren't exactly right. And I hate to hear that. There's a lot of people that come out this week talking about the Noah system and whether it is working. Thad Young spoke about it at length yesterday, saying that he's been using the Noah system for years and that he loves it and that it actually really does help him a lot, that he's invested in a company that it uses the Noah system. So it's something that's a part of his business. And then also that for him personally, it's helped him know like where the shot goes through the net and all kinds of different things. It's been very beneficial. So he's a big proponent of it. I know some people have been saying, oh, this Noah system, we happen to get it. And now all of a sudden we can't shoot after we got it. Well, they want us to know that it is actually really helping. And it's just a weird coincidence that we're not shooting well at the same time. But I really like that insight from CJ Miles about Fred's shooting. He looked at it and he really gave us an expertise kind of thing. And he's a great person to do this because of his own career with 3-point shooting and how good of a shooter he is. He really knows what to look for and things, and how he broke down Fred's shooting woes right now was absolutely a great must watch for Raptor freaks. If you want to watch that, I think Monique has posted it in our Facebook chat, but also it's just up there with Amit Maan from their show, the CJ Miles podcast show. Check that out. Seriously. Logical Raptors Fanatic saying, I'm going to go on El Selector's channel to talk post game. He's been going for years, but he's busy a lot, so it's hard to know when it's happening. Sorry, just wanted to let Nameless know since he enjoyed. I don't know who El Selector is. And I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Once again, that's extraneous. It's kind of a little bit outside of our box. Black Hawk is saying we need a full 48 of defense. Kings were not that good. That game should have been ours. Kings are actually okay, though. Seriously. They've got some good players. And like I said, there's no team that's Slouch. You can't say they're not that good. They have a good record. They've been playing good. So I can't agree with that. But I can't agree with the first part. We need a full 48 of minutes of defense for sure. That game should have been ours on Wednesday. The games against Orlando should have been ours. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. We can't change it now. We're just going to be where we are. Now, I know at the end of the year, if we're close in certain ways, people are going to point back to a lot of the games we've had recently and say, oh, if we just won the games in Orlando, or we just won that 1-point loss to Sacramento. Oh, we just won against Atlanta in overtime. We're going to point at those games all year and say, yeah, we could have won a couple more games than we did. Yeah, that's true. But it happened that way. It happened the way it did. We can't really do what it could have, should have this year. Troy Henry saying, Raptors don't surprise me anymore, win or lose. Still my team, though. Just wish they were giving us, the fans, more. In some ways they do give us a lot, though. A lot of fun and entertainment. And as people have said, a distraction from maybe like a world that's burning down in certain ways. But yeah, I appreciate you, Troy Henry. And listen, I guess if you expect either a win or a loss today, they won't surprise you tonight. If they beat the Nets tonight, will you be surprised, Troy Henry? That's what I want to know. I want to see if they can surprise you still. Maybe they will beat the Brooklyn Nets tonight, and they might. Alistair saying, I thought Ellen was cool. And Lolita says, I love you too. Oh, Lolita, love you too. We got to say that every day. Yeah, Ellen is a good person in some ways. She's done a lot more good than bad. But apparently on her show, she's such a perfectionist and she's a little bit like, she's the end all be all of that show because it's her show with her name on it. She could be a little bit demanding and a little bit insensitive to her employees as far as like how she comes at them and what she wants. And she could be really like bad, like really insulting and humiliating to some of her employees, is what I heard. Anyway, Logical saying we had the system in 2019, helped Lowry in the slump he had that year. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to figure it out. Our system, our culture is going to be back intact and we're going to get it all right. Raymond Jacobs saying, hey, how did the Bucks lose by 40? All right, what game are you talking about? I want to see where you're talking about. The Bucks lost. Was it last night they lost? Yeah, they lost to Memphis. Okay, they lost to Memphis by 40. All right, let me look at it. I'll do this on the spot since Raymond Jacob wants me to tell him. I'll do the box score autopsy just for fun today. Okay, well, first of all, the Bucks shot 37%. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies shot 55%, and the Grizzlies also got 8 more shots. They're pretty even on everything else. Also, the Grizzlies out rebounded the Bucks 56-39. That's a huge part of it, including 14 offensive rebounds. The turnovers are pretty equal. They did get out on the break on them too. 27 fast break points on them, and then 86 points in the paint. So they dominated them down low and shot a really high percentage. So Raymond Jacob, they basically took them down low, made a bunch of baskets in the paint, and shot better than them, and just out rebounded them. That's basically what they did. They were shooting way better. So maybe they played really good defense on the Bucks, so they didn't shoot as well, and they crashed the boards and boxed them out. That's pretty much what I saw from that right there. And that's how they won by 40. That's pretty damn good. The Grizzlies beating the Bucks by 40 points. I like that. Listen, anytime a West team beats an East team, we like this. We want the Western teams to beat the shit out of the Eastern Conference, except for us. Name was saying because the regular season means squat, Raymondo. Yeah. I don't know. Name's you standing up for the Bucks. I think that's a great win by the Grizzlies. If that's a finals appearance, they're going to look at that game. Like if it's the Bucks versus the Grizzlies at the end of the year, that's going to be an important game they're going to look at, that the Grizzlies beat them like that. Monique saying, W stream Lex, despite the negative fans, go Raptors, keep at it always, 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 always. Thank you, Monique. You keep at it always, just being a super fan and just being a badass. You keep going too, Monique. We appreciate you. Blackhawk saying, Lex, 17 threes, and we were still in the game. My observation is from a defensive standpoint. Kings were a defensive nightmare. And there's a couple of things about them that are kind of annoying. I wouldn't call them a nightmare, but there are some challenges. De'Aaron Fox is such a challenge in the open court in transition, and he hugely killed us on Wednesday just because he gets the ball down the court so quickly. And Nick said in the post-game interview after the game and also yesterday in the practice interview that one of the big things that killed us about the Kings was their transition threes. It wasn't even that they were hitting threes in half court and moving around. A lot of the threes that they made against us were coming down the court and just like hitting them in transition. And that those were the ones that really, really killed us. That was how they were getting their threes. It wasn't like a pass it around and then hit the guy in the corner kind of three night. It was very much we're coming up the court and we're pulling up and hitting threes like Freddie would on up for our team. So, but you know what? You're right. There's a lot of ways that we fucked up defensively in that game. We played really good in the first half, but in the second half, our defense was not up to snuff in stopping them in certain ways. The other part of them that's really tough to deal with is Sabonis himself. That he's just a force around the basket and in the paint. He's very hard to muscle out and control in certain ways. That's why he got a 20-20 game. So, yeah, that's interesting. And you know what? Listen, we lost. It is kind of incredible that we lost by 1 point and they outscored us 33 points at the 3-point line. That is actually super incredible in some ways because that means we did really good in certain ways in a lot of areas. It's just that we didn't shoot well. That may be the biggest problem we had. Defense was also a problem too. I will admit you're right, Blackhawk. Raymond's saying, I hope them Bucks be slipping. Let's not hold our breaths. And who knows? I mean, they've had some really good luck considering they had Chris Middleton out and they didn't miss a beat and they won a lot. So who knows? I mean, Memphis is super good. This may be a big part of it is that Memphis is just super good too. Mike's saying we had the Noah system in 2019. It helped Lowry with the early slump. he was in that year with the role change from main shooter, but the Noah helped him find that again. Okay, well, hopefully this will happen again. These guys will get the Noah system, will get them all ironed out. Help Fred shoot straight again, Noah, please. And PM saying, am I the only one that sees the iceberg on the starboard side? Bells are ringing. Time to retool or find a floating device. Raps forever. In some ways you could be right that we're in trouble in some ways, but in some ways, once again, we have to keep an overall perspective. This team is run by Masai Ujiri. It's going to be a winning team regardless down the road, no matter what. And but let's hope for the best, and let's hope that we can surprise people and get a win against the Brooklyn Nets when nobody expects us to. That would be really good. Nameless has got the deer with the target, and blam, bam, shot up, and then there's the Raptor. I love it. And Monique's saying, I'm staying positive for Precious as well as he's close to return. Yeah, I'd like to see Precious back out there as soon as possible. All right, let's do the real mascot matchup. This is going to be a little bit of a cop-out one, just so y'all know ahead of time. All right, this is the mascot matchup brought to you by Subway, Bowlway. Yeah. So the mascot is in this room, this sauna hospital room, this horrible room. We'll just call it the horrible room. You guys know what it is from episodes from before. It's a room where he's being kept and strapped into a bed by an awful nurse named Annette. Yes, Annette. And she has a friend, the Cavalier nurse, and then there's Harry the Hawk, who kind of helps out too, the news hawk. And they're basically keeping him there and torturing him. And he was going to escape. He thought he was going to be able to escape because he had the lake of sweat and he could wriggle out. But the Bowlway made him sick, and he's now food poisoned in the bed. Like he had magical Bowlway a week before, but then the Bowlway got like really rancid and gross with bad lettuce, and so it's made him sick. Now, there was some speculation that somebody was passing by the house outside and that they may help him. But apparently they just walked by the house. They didn't even check on him or know that there was something wrong with this house. It was just somebody on the street. They just walked by, and they didn't do anything. They didn't help or nothing. So it passed them by. And he's still in the same predicament. Now, there's something weird going on, though, because like Nurse Annette really thinks that he stinks. Like he smells so bad. Like he's been laying in that sauna room and they torture him with the heat that he has so much raptor sweat built up that he stinks. So Nurse Annette's got to give him a bath. And this may be an opportunity for the Raptor. Will the Raptor be able to figure out a way to grapple against a very strong Nurse Annette? Nurse Annette isn't like a normal nurse. She's like a big, strong, like tough nurse. And she also looks like Nurse Ratchet, but from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now she's going to have to give him a sponge bath because he smells. Is this going to be an opportunity for the Raptor to make a break for it with him being freed, getting washed by Nurse Annette? And this isn't like kinky or weird or sexual. This is like very functional because he does smell like shit. And so don't get it twisted. Don't start thinking in that kind of line of things. It's basically very much that she's got to wash him. Will he be able to figure out a way to escape because he's free in this sponge bath? We'll find out next time on the Real Mascot Matchup. It's crazy. Yeah, and I feel like I totally the person just walked by. Okay, what is that story? What is that? The person walked by on the street? What is that, Lex? Oh my gosh. All right, anyway. Blackhawk saying also the rebounds we are missing is because we rarely are in the middle of the paint or by the rim to get it. A combination of Justin and Scotty could cure that. I love this idea, Blackhawk. In fact, I really want to see Justin Champagnie play on the main roster, but it won't be tonight. Once again, he'll probably be down there in 905 playing against the Skyhawks tonight. And he did post something the last couple of days. He's like, unlock me from the G League and bring me up. In some ways, he has a good case because he's scoring like 30, 40 points and just killing it in the G League level right now. And if we really need offensive rebounds, maybe Justin is the key. So I like this idea, but I don't know if it'll be tonight that he gets to come and see the main Raptors team. He may be still in Mississauga tonight because the games are at the same time. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe there'll be some news this afternoon, and I'll be putting an update on in the comment section in this chat on this stream page. So there'll be some update. But I think Scotty's good for this too. Yeah, I think they just need to recommit to crashing the boards like they had been at the beginning of the season because there hasn't been enough of that. And I think you're right. We're not in the middle. The other thing is the other teams are very much boxing us out. They really, really are keying on that. There may have been times where they slipped their mind or they weren't really thinking about that at the beginning of the season, but not in recent opponents. They're all taking it very seriously, whether it's Sabonis or Bol and Mobamba. Those guys are hard to rebound around. They really are. And Logical Raptors Fanatic saying Nurse Auntie is like the liquid T2000 from T2. Nurse Annette is like her. No, I hope she's not that strong. Oh my gosh, we don't want Nurse Annette to be like a T2 from Terminator 2. That liquid one, like what's that name of that actor? That guy who came out there. I forget his name. You guys know that guy's name? What's his name? I can't remember it. You know what I'm talking about, the Terminator and Terminator 2. All right. Anyway, let's just do a recap. We're just about to get to 2 hours. Might as well finish it up. Our injuries tonight are basically this. We've got Ron Harper is out. He's on our injury list, but I don't know why. He's probably not going to play in 905 either tonight. Precious is going to be out past the New Year's probably. We're going to see him in the first week of January is probably the soonest. Otto, similar kind of thing, maybe just a little bit after him. And then OG, we're going to get the update on him around Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll see what they say at that point. So we're going to expect to miss OG Anunoby for another 2 games at least, which sucks. Brooklyn's injuries are as follows. Seth Curry is questionable for tonight, so I'm going to guess that Seth's probably not going to play tonight. So it probably means both Curry brothers will not be coming to Toronto or playing in Toronto's games this weekend. And then Patty Mills has a non-COVID illness, and he's doubtful for the game tonight. So Seth Curry and Patty Mills are the injuries on that part. The referees for tonight for G League and Mississauga, it's going to be Brent Haskell, Mike Brown's favorite person, Nate Surley, and Omar Bermudez are the 3 referees for that game for the Raptors 905. And then our refs here in Toronto for the Brooklyn game are Sean Wright, Nick Booker, and Jason Goldenberg. And I always feel real golden when Goldenberg's around. Sean Wright is not bad, and neither is Nick Booker. These are actually pretty good refs for us. So hopefully that will be true when we see them come out there. All right, Raptors, just come with some pride. Come with some, like, we need to make winning plays minute after minute, just continuously winning plays to add up to a winning outcome at the end of the game. Whatever you guys can do to try and scrape or do whatever you can to win tonight, just do it. Sometimes the impossible tasks are the ones that you guys come in and come through on. The ones that seem like they're just absolutely impossible. You do them. This has been part of your character and culture in the recent years. This may be a good night to show up and show that this is still can happen, that we overachieve against odds that seem insurmountable, but we still end up getting that we want so badly right now. We just need some more of these, and things will be all better and easier. That's right. Monique's got the 5 Raptor lineup up, just like Tom Duke would. All right, guys, thanks again, and let's keep it positive. This is what they're saying too on the team. That's what the team is doing. That's the most important thing. It's like Pascal said, he could hang his head and be depressed, but it's not going to help us get out of this. He could be so sad and upset, but it's not going to help us. And the team is really committed to staying positive, staying together, and believing in the coach, believing in each other, and making it happen still. The adversity that this is happening to us would crush other teams and ruin them for the rest of the year, but not us, because we're staying positive. And if the team's going to stay positive, our fans need to stay positive too. And that's what we were doing here in this stream today. All right, y'all. Thanks again for joining me. Please subscribe if you enjoy my content, and like, comment, share. I appreciate it all. It all very much helps. Tom Duke saying, nice job, Mo. Come on, Raptors. Let's go. That's right, Tom Duke. And W to you, Tom, also. And Mike saying, I don't know. That spicy 39-point triple-double was like a shotgun to the head, and the head morphed back to normal, and they still won. Just joking, of course. Yeah. Well, this is the sucky thing about recent losses. Fred had a gem of a game, and we still lost. Pascal's had a huge game recently, and we still lost. OG had a big game before he got hurt, and we still lost. That may be part of the problem. We need more balance. One guy shouldn't be shouldering so much like Fred did on Wednesday. There needs to be more balance as far as throughout everybody contributing at a certain level. And that's what we need to actually win. When we have 2 guys like Scotty and Freddie carrying so much of the scoring on Wednesday, that imbalance is not helpful for us to win. Anyway, guys, stay positive, believe, and if you are going the game, get loud. Seriously, there's going to be apathy in the game with the crowd, and we can't have that. That's why when real Raptor freaks get in the building for games now, we really have to be leaders of passion and positivity and showing that we still really care about them winning. So yeah, let's say, oh yeah, cheers, Isaac. It's Friday, winning Friday. Let's go. TGIF, y'all. Let's just win. Let's go Raptors. Fuck Brooklyn.